Well, we are going to see the PowerPoint of the present unit, that is the third of this term, that is Francoist dictatorship in the Basque Country. And we are going to cover the period from the end of the war to Franco's death. Well, here you have the scheme, and there are four parts. First, we are going to talk about the economic evolution. Then we will see the evolution of the opposition during the Franconism. Then we will see the role of the Basque Country in the exile. And finally, ETA, the beginnings of ETA and the position of the Basque nationalism during this period. Beginning with the economic evolution, there are two different stages. The first one is the recovery that was quite quick after the war, and then we have the development, the big development, we should say, during the 60s and 70s, until the beginning of the crisis of the petroleum at the mid of the 70s. Well, beginning with the recovery after the war, we must remember that the destructions in the area were not very big, because militaries took into account that those industries would be useful for them for producing weapons, so they tried to preserve them as much as possible. So after the war, when industries started developing with normality, it was a fast growth of them, because there was a high demand for products. And in addition to that, we must remember that these first years were the years of the autarky. So as they couldn't get products from other countries, because very few of them had economic connections with Franconist system, so they must try to produce everything they needed inside the country. Of course, this development and this advance were not exempt of problems. The mines were nearly exhausted. It was difficult to get the mineral, and what is more, it was difficult also to obtain the mineral abroad, because the countries didn't want to have that economic threat with Spain. And in addition to that, there were not enough skilled workers. So that was a handicap for the development of the industries. In the 60s and 70s is the time of the stabilization plan. Remember that is the system created by the technocrats, the representative of the Opus Dei, who were in charge of the economy. And they decide to devalue the peseta, for instance, so Spain would appear as a more attractive country for investments of, especially of foreigners. Is the moment in which tourism started developing, and it's a period in which the growth of Spain was incredible. This development had as a consequence that during from 60 to 75, more or less, it was a period of immigrations. Many people who were living in the countryside returned to the cities to work in those industries who needed the workers. Many industries were created because the naturals invested their savings, or because foreigners invested, taking advantage of the good conditions offered by the government, and they also benefit from the protectionist measures given by the government. The geography continues being a bit the same as before. The major industrial concentration is on the coast, in Guipúzcoa and Vizcaya, but it reached a moment of saturation. So some industries have to be put in Álava and Navarre as well. And it's the great moment of the cooperativism, especially in the area of Mondragon. About the opposition, we are going to follow the different centuries. Well, during the war aftermath, the Statute of the Economic Concert were eliminated, as you know, and it was a harsh repression in which everything that sounded Basque, the same, the language, culture, anything, was suppressed. Franco had a special hate for that. During the 40s is a period of social unrest with strikes of workers because of the bad economic conditions of that period, that initial period. We must remember that strikes were forbidden, but anyway, workers did them. And the unions who were working in hidden many times were discovered by the regime and dismantled. During the 50s, There was little opposition in general, and there are some activities in favor of culture, that Basque culture especially, and is the moment in which ETA appears. In the 60s, there was a big social unrest with several strikes of workers, and is the moment in which ETA started his activities, especially with violence and claiming his first victim, that was, as we are going to see, a civil guard, and that led to the Burgos process. And the last years are marked by the continuation of the problems of public order and the confrontation of ETA with the different security forces. The Basque government in the exile, well, we are going to talk about three different things. Well, the first is the moment in which they went to the exile, then the Bayona Agreement of 45, and finally the International Eusko Biltzarra held in Paris in 1956. We are going to see the three of them. Well, about the end of the war and the departure to go abroad, we must remember that initially, well, the war in the Basque Country ended by 37, but it didn't finish in the rest of Spain until 39. So initially, the Basque government, when they must leave the Basque Country, they left and went to Barcelona. When Barcelona also was taken by the militaries, they crossed the border and they went to Paris. And there they were talking with the authorities, trying to look for supports for their cause. And when the World War started, as you know, a great part of France was occupied by the Nazis, and in that moment, Paris as well. So the Basque government had to escape from there. Then in 1945, they met in Bayona, not just the representative of Basque government and the PNV, but representative of all political parties that had a representation in the Basque Country, and they signed this agreement according to defend the Republic and trying to restore this. But the system was not very strong, and soon appeared the first difficulties. In one hand, we have the international one. Due to the Cold War, Franco's regime, even if not being democratic, has started being courted by the United States, who wanted to plant their military bases in Spain. So they started tolerating Franco's regime, and is the moment in which Spain entered in United Nations. And the PSOE also was a bit suspicious of what would happen with the PCE. They were not very confident on them, and in the Don Iván Eloitzun Treaty, they influenced on put pressure on the Lehendakari Aguirre to try to leave the communists out of their agreements. Then in 56, and in Paris, International Euskal Biltzarra was held under the direction of Aguirre. The main vindication was the statute of the 36. The 36 they wanted to recover, and once Aguirre was aware of the impossibility of obtaining the support of the democracies for restoring the republic, because Franco's regime has been accepted, he started changing to go to support the monarchy. Aguirre died in these years, and he was replaced by Leizaola, and in this moment is the moment in which ETA was born. Well, and finally, we are going to see the case of ETA. Well, the beginnings from 47 to 51. Well, initially, we must say that this movement was not called ETA. There is a group of students of engineering, the majority of them, who formed a group that was called EIA, and their aim was to meet and discuss about Basque matters and Basque culture in general, with not an special political target. They were not experienced, and because of that, they were caught by the security forces and they were imprisoned. During this first period as well, the PNV created his clandestine net. Well, in the years 51 to 67, there are many changes, and some additions of different groups. For example, ella used to publish their investigations and the research in a magazine or newspaper that was called Ekin, so they started to be known and be named after the name of the newspaper. So they are going to be called in the future Ekin. And they are going to have two different groups, two cells, one in Guipúzcoa and the other one in Biscay. Soon this Ekin started in conversations with EG, Eusko Gaztedi, that was the youth group of the PNV. They merged together and they formed EGI, Eusko Gaztedi del Interior. During the 56, they took part in different conflicts and strikes, and in the year 67 marked a turning point because they met, the representative of EGI met with the representative of the PNV. They considered that the members of the senior party of the PNV looked down to them, they didn't appreciate their work, and finally, after they see the differences, the group was divided in two. There is going to be one EGI that is going to be linked to the PNV, and there is a new EGI, initially they are going to have the same name, that is going to change his name later to be known as ITA, Euskadi Eta Askatasuna. Then, from 66 to 70 is the moment in which the first actions and the first assemblies of the group started. In the fifth assembly, it was evident that there were two different currents inside the group, one more moderate and the other that was in favor of political struggle. From the year 67 is a year that marked a difference because there were the first victims in ITA and the first victims created by ITA. First, one member of ITA, Xavi Etxebarrieta, was killed in a roadblock, and ITA did his first bloody action, assassinating the civil guard Melitón Manzanas, who was destined in the garrison of Irún, and he was reputed as a torturator. That was the first person murdered by ITA. Some of the people convicted who took part in that action were taken to prison, and they were sent to the Burgos process in the year 1970. Why Burgos? Burgos because it's the place where the military tribunal has its settlement. Why the military tribunal? Because those people were not military, so they should have been judged in a civilian tribunal. But Franco wanted to give an example with them. Franco wanted to give death penalties to them, and in the civilian justice that penalty doesn't exist. So, but it exists in the military code. So this is why they were judged there. Several death penalties were given, but the protest inside, well, in the Basque Country, in Spain and abroad were so huge that Franco had to retract and change commute the death penalties for life imprisonments. Then, finally, in the last years of the Franconism, the year 70-75, there were several escissions inside ITA. Initially, in the year 70, they divided for the first time, and they are going to appear two groups: ITA 5, who was in favor of the action. They were responsible for the assassination of Carrero Blanco, and ITA 6, that was more in favor of cultural activism, but not in bloody actions. Then, ITA 5 was divided in the year 1974 into two groups, and they are going to appear ITA M, Eta Militarra, in favor of armed struggle, is the one that is committed with violence and the one who is going to be killing and acting against especially security forces of the state, and the other one, ITA PM, Eta Político Militar, that was concentrated on class struggle. Well, the same year, they created the war front with Laia. And finally, we must say that civilian people plus some armed groups created CAS, Coordinadora Abertzale Socialista, to ask for an amnesty for prisoners. And well, This is all the unit.